and that. That isn't how we won it last year. The way we won it was just by, coming out and playing the best we can. We started out the first series down 2-0. It ain't like everything clicked right away. Hopefully that doesn't happen this year. We're not looking for that to happen, but take it one. What did we say over and over and over last year? One game at a time, one period at a time, one shift at a time. And it sounds cliché, but if we're going to have a chance to do it again, that's the same attitude that we have to take this year. And that's what I've been mentally preparing myself to think that way too.
I'm assuming this is the best team you've ever been on for doing that. Being able to do that part. How long ago did you realize this was like the best team ever at putting yesterday behind and being able to just focus on what's right in front of you? Because that seems to be the thing about this club that stands out special amongst all the champions.
I think that's something that's been built into the Bruins culture over the last few years. I think even if you look back to the first round loss to Montreal, where we were down 2-0 and they're maybe 3-0 and they took it to 7. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think that gave some indication that this is a team that has the ability to put that kind of stuff behind them and focus on the now, and that we're never going to give up. And you see it during the regular season, like for example this year, you see it in smaller cases where we go get ourselves in trouble, but then we battle back so hard and get ourselves back into it. So I think it's part of the culture that's been developing for the last 4 or 5 years, and there was no one moment where you're like, oh, we're that team. It just kind of grew and happened.
Tim, before you were interrupted yesterday, you were talking about Holtby, how he might not have any to lose, that type of thing. Do you think that might resonate with the whole team there because they're the lowest team? They haven't been an underdog in a series for a while.
I don't know. I guess that's up to them. I hope they're not reading these articles. I don't want to give them any advice,
You guys have been a lower seed in your time here, and did you kind of feel that, playing with house money type attitude?
Not really. Okay. This is Boston, one of the original 6 teams. There's always a lot of pressure for that way. So even when we made the playoffs in 7th, for example, I think there were people that had high expectations for us. And I don't know how Washington's going to approach it, and I don't know if that's how Holtby's going to approach it. He may end up putting too much pressure on himself, and it could go either way. I'm just saying, what I was saying yesterday is, how we get prepared, we should be prepared for everybody on Washington to be bringing their best. And then if we're prepared for them to bring their best, but then still prepared on our end to come out ahead at the end of the series, then if they don't bring their best, even better for us. But we have to be ready for that and be ready to bring something better than Washington brings.
Tim, you mentioned the pressure. How best do you deal with the pressure in your vast experience at Stanley Cup playoffs?
Well, I kind of mentioned this already, but don't look at it like, oh, we gotta go win another cup. Just focus on the now. Focus on each individual game. One game, one period, one shift at a time. We did a great job of breaking it down to that type of attitude, especially as the playoffs went on last year, and that's what helped us get through it. I mentioned it before, but I guess I'll bring it up again. And before Game 7, when we're talking in the locker room, one of the things that we're saying as a team was, because everybody's tired by that point. It's a long playoffs. Everyone's got bumps and bruises, and more than bumps and bruises, and they're tired. Instead of putting the pressure on ourselves to come out and think Game 7 needed the best game that we ever played in our life, as a group we made a decision that we don't need everybody to be better than they've ever been in their lives before. We just need everybody to be as good as they can be tonight, and that will be enough to make us come out on top. So that's probably the same type of attitude that we need to take this year.
Does it help you mentally to know that you've kind of climbed the mountaintop before, that you've been there and been able to do it?
Yeah, I guess so. It helps. I don't really know what else to say.
You kind of just, able to draw on the experience, or like maybe at a low point,
I think guys have accumulated experience throughout their whole careers, their whole lives. Whether you win a championship in midgets or juniors or AHL, I don't know where guys have been, NHL. I think the experience of winning is something that does help make it a little bit easier to win again. Yes.
If you can remember the organic, raw sense of desire that went into every minute of every playoff game last year, is there any level at which you feel like that has to be manufactured now because you can't possibly feel what you felt last year because now you won it?
Yeah, but it's got to come. You know, I don't. I mean, game 1 and 2 against Montreal last year, I don't know if you could actually categorize us exactly as that. It took us a while to get, to figure out the approach that we needed to take for the playoffs, and there were ups and downs, and we lost. We went to 3 Game 7 series, which means we lost 3 out of 7 in 3 different series. So it's a game-to-game struggle. It's not as cut and dried as you were describing it.